It's Thursday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. YK in the building.
Yo,
YK, why are you only there for 2 days this week? You should have been doing 4-5 days. Let's see your face. For like 2 or 3
I didn't know that I'm 62.
YK, doesn't matter, please. You can't be doing 2 days. Next week, you're doing 4 days.
Looking 25.
I wish. When I look at myself in the mirror,
YK, you know you inspire me. I mean, in the last few days, I've been struggling. I have a lot of mental struggle. And what was motivating me was like, if YK at 62 can be happy, fulfilled, and joyful, Mariah, you're just 42, honey. You got this. So just seeing you in my face is enough inspiration, right?
I'm telling you, I use you to, like, you come up in my thoughts when I'm like, okay, you're giving up now, but YK hasn't given up. I say that to myself. I'm like, okay, so you're here for us like an inspiration.
I'm so glad. So I should not be doing that 2 days a week so I can be inspired. Sustaining the.
How you doing, YK?
I'm fine. You know this Nigeria, I hate the way you do the wrong thing and you make it right. Everybody be on this lane. Like finally the governor is doing one side, so everybody's using one lane. Come this way for those cars.
Yes, and you wait, and then the other side comes.
But everybody is now going on the road on the side where, and they have turned it to the right thing. Somebody on Saturday bashed my car. I was on the right lane.
Yes.
The most painful part was I was on the right lane. He now comes from this side, and then their lane suddenly becomes the right lane.
Yeah.
Because they're now in the middle.
It's not double the lane.
They even tripled it. So he now,
Try to come in front of you.
No, he just. I know because I don't want to bash my car, so I just go gently. Because he wanted to make sure I didn't pass, he went on and then bashed his own car, and his mirror came off. Do you know what he did? He came out of the car and then hit my own mirror till it broke.
I was mad at you.
Can you imagine? Why would somebody do that?
His name, his picture.
What did you do? You just kept quiet, Abi?
I tried to chase him. Another car that saw what happened now blocked him. He came out. He was drunk and high.
Look at that.
Gosh. I know that I'm the one that hit him. In the end, I just looked at him and thought to myself, you know what?
No use.
This one is no use talking to him. Yeah. He believes he's right. His passenger came out and said I should not be annoyed, that what that guy did was wrong.
The passenger was still.
So if his passenger can say that,
it's just this indiscipline we have generally.
We're just indisciplined.
Totally. Let me come to you, Tokwe. How are you doing?
Sorry, I just had to answer that.
I'm good.
No earrings again?
The earrings somewhere in my bag. The wig, I was like, because of YK, I'm not going to wear my wig. That YK is always supporting. Yes, YK is always supporting that we should wear kind of natural hair. And some people and I have good natural hair. And then I'm now making myself feel like it's not fine enough because it is not wig, because I felt that wig is glam. So I just told myself like, okay,
YK, wear the wig tomorrow.
I might wear it next week, but I'm going through that journey of getting comfortable with seeing my face like this.
To continue that process, I told her she must have a girl because somebody must inherit this hair. How can you have just a bunch of boys? You need a girl.
What if
somebody must inherit this beautiful?
Exactly, that's the worry. I cannot deal. No, everybody is telling me, how are you coping with boys? I didn't understand. Now I'm understanding. Like the fight, the shouts.
You're not there yet. They're teenagers. That's when you
now I'm understanding. How are you coping? I'm like, it's not a big deal. It's a big deal. They are fighting.
Let me come to you, Mom. How are you doing?
I'm fine. My own is also a traffic rant, but not a rant exactly. But I just would like to know what the speed limits for these lorries are when they are packed full. They've got all the things high up on their lorries, and then they're speeding. Today, coming to work, there are about 3 of them in a row. Obviously they had come out of the port and they were just speeding. And I'm thinking there has to be a speed limit for lorries like this, for vehicles like this. What is it, and who is there to ensure that they are, they are following the speed the speed limits? Because it definitely was just a serious.
A lot of them, the tires are bad,
wobbly. Yes. So I just need to know: do I take a video? Who do I send it to?
Right.
We want things we need to.
So I hope FRSC is listening so that they can text us and give us the number.
So I was in Ibadan yesterday, and I went to speak at a female roundtable. It was nice. It was good to be amongst women, but again, YK inspired me because when I wear flat shoes, I just saw myself wear heels.
And you felt...
So I wore flats there, and when I got to the venue, and I wore high heels. Hey, I entered, feel like a YK, sat down, did my speech on the heels. I'm like, hey, Mariah Mashiwa, all right. I was just like, you know what, Mariah is okay. And I went, and I felt good.
And you felt good.
I felt really good. I felt like a woman. Let's go to a break. It's Thursday, it's our gisting day. When we come back, we do the serious stuff by looking at the papers, and then we go into our gist. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Right, so we're going to start with the nation. Electricity crisis. I left my glasses today, so I was training. Governors reject sale of 10 power plants. It's difficult to fake new naira notes, says Buhari. After Babalola to challenge Ekiti Speaker's impeachment. Ogun Central Monarchs back Abiodun for second term. Ex-AGF Idris returned $900,000 cash. Witness tells court. Osun Palace raised. Tinubu inaugurates Ebonyi Government House Road. Bandits demand new naira notes to free abducted victims. You gotta be kidding me.
They're not kidding you.
Okay.
They have demands.
Yeah. Who's starting with?
Okay, let me start with the bank kidnappers demanding. So they kidnapped 4 people in Zamfara State, and they first demanded 10 million. Then they later reduced it to 5 million, saying they will not collect the old naira notes. That they will wait till the naira notes is in circulation, and then they should pay them their 5 million naira with the new naira notes.
And you know that the banks are saying that, and EFCC too, they're saying that they're going to be screening large withdrawals going forward. So would this mean that it would also help them trace where these monies end up, and they help, thereby helping,
I think it is
arresting these kidnappers?
Just mark the money.
Yeah. Any large tranche, you should note it, because what we know is we're not meant to do over 5 million naira cash transactions anymore as individuals. So if you're withdrawing,
but those guys are not putting their money in the banks, so the transaction is always just ammunition and food. So I guess, well, it can be traced. But Nigeria, do we have that tracing capacity? There's a lot of conversation around this stuff.
Talking about the new money, as we know, it was finally launched. The president at the unveiling of the new 1,500 naira notes says that these particular notes have some security features that will make it impossible for fraudsters and counterfeiters to counterfeit the money. And he's also proud of the fact that this redesign was done locally by the Nigerian NSP, that's the Nigerian Security Printing PLC. He mentioned that many African countries actually print their monies abroad and is imported into their countries like we import goods, but he's proud to say that we have done it locally this time. He also said that it was long overdue. He said the CBN governor had approached him and talked about the need for us to control the currency circulation. Also, he brought to his attention that there's a lot of monies that's been hoarded, and so this will go a long way to reversing some of those issues. He says, ideally, currency redesign needs to be done every 5 to 8 years, and it's been 20 years since the last one. The CBN governor also talked about, he was grateful to the president for supporting to do this at a time like this, and he also was proud that it was done locally as well. And he says that this will also help with making sure the implementation of monetary policies going forward will be done properly. It said that it will affect inflation rates, and so many other things.
So let me quickly add it.
No, not Swiss.
I just wanted to say that I would prefer they call it recoloring.
People have been doing all shades like that. The shades are shades.
There was saturation.
I want to talk about still within the economy story, the Attorney General of the Federation that was suspended, Ahmed Idris, voluntarily returned $900,000 in cash. And the witnesses, if you remember, he was suspended because there was an allegation of missing 109 billion naira public funds under his watch. Said he compromised the TSA and led to breach in trust to the tune of 109 billion. So between him and someone else, he returned $900,000 in voluntarily in cash. And they said it is shy of the 100,000. It was supposed to be $1 million that they said he had. So I want a public trial. I want it to be everywhere. It is too small in the papers. We need to talk about this. And this person that was appointed under this administration in 2015, he was suspended when the story came out. He and 3 others. It is still an allegation, and we are waiting for a conviction, a proper trial. We don't want a mistrial. We don't want a trial, a case thrown out because they don't have enough evidence. Let it follow through.
That's why we don't want a media trial. Let them gather all the evidences properly and then take them to court so that we don't hear a story that, it's all the media trial. I was going to take the governors. So 10 governors under the auspices of the Nigerian Governors Forum rejected the sale of 10 power plants. They're asking also that they insist on a legal solution for the $418 million Paris Club refund fee, now saying that nothing should be done until the courts say on the matter. There's also that issue that the court order restraining all parties in the suit from taking any step to sell any of these 10 power plants that will make or render the outcome of the motion on notice seeking for interlocutory injunction nugatory. So the effects of pretty much they're just saying that they shouldn't sell these 10 plants. But I didn't really get the issues. The report didn't give us the issues the NGF is having specifically concerning these power plants. I hope we can have that at some point, but they're just asking that the sale should be stopped. Let me move quickly now to the Punch. Governor stop deductions, consultations head for French court. New naira, CBN, EFCC to track large withdrawals. Police kill Osun Prince, hoodlums raise palace. Excess crude accounts declined by 89%. Ekiti. Sands says Speaker's impeachment coup d'etat. NNPC meets marketers as petrol scarcity bites harder. Obi's plane grounded, campaign train seeks alternative arrangements. And PDP differs as APC dismisses electronic result transmission. Okay, which story are we starting with in Punch?
I should start with the Osun Prince. Apparently, they had installed a new Oba, the new Akim of Ikim, Oba Olalekon Akadiri. They said he was the new monarch of the town, but I think there were problems because they had locked the palace. So they were outside the palace. I think the police were trying to get access to it. So there was a scuffle. According to onlookers, the police fired a shot and the prince, Lukman Olatunji, was shot in the head. Wasn't on purpose.
It was a stray bullet.
And then 4 other persons sustained injuries because they were fighting. It was a fight. Anyway, the area boys got angry, the youth in that area got angry and burnt one of the buildings in the palace. And they stopped the fire truck from coming to put it out. Yeah, put out the fire. But the police said, no, that's not what happened, though. That they were just there to ensure that there was renovation. And in that renovation, that they now fought, and then the area boys now shot and killed the prince. So the police story is totally different.
He said, she said.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table. So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table. So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well,
thanks for staying with us. So Waike borrowed me her pair of glasses, her spare. So who's coming to punch? What other story?
Yes, so still at the unveiling, the CBN governor has said that the CBN will be working with other agencies like EFCC, ICPC, and other corrupt and other related offences commission to work together, especially when it has to do with withdrawals from banks. It says going forward, large withdrawals would include will involve people filling in so many documents. I think they're going to make it so tedious for you that you may have to decide, you know what, I'm not interested. That you will fill so many forms, they will ask you for so many details, BVN, NIN, everything. And that they're trying to, you know, usher our economy into a cashless economy. It says there's no country anywhere in the world that that wants their country to be cash-dependent economy, and we have to gradually move into that form of a cashless economy. And and then he also said that so many people were saying that this redesign was targeting a specific person or specific set of people, a specific group of people. That that's not the case. That is just that we have to, that this is standard practice. Every 5 to 8 years, you must redesign your currency, and they haven't done that in 20 years. And this affects, and this will help with the control of the currency out there, just like, you know, I'd mentioned in the story I took earlier. And this is really for our economy and not for a specific person. So going forward, people have to understand that they will not be able to just walk into the banks and get out large sums of money.
Start with the banks.
Yeah.
I mean, look, you will get POS. You will. The banks will not transmit your money.
That happens.
Well, these are conversations we're still having, but we cannot talk about it right now.
You will just be getting charged back. For what?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what I'm suffering with banks, so I beg you.
Deposit your cash, I beg. And they know you're a cash business.
Let me take the issue of petrol. I think we talked about this several times, but it's still in the papers because NNPC would now be meeting with the marketers as this scarcity has actually come to Lagos. Now they're accused everywhere. So I think it was the National Public Relations Officer, the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria Chief Ukadike Chinedu was explaining the situation, which we have been told several times, but let me just reiterate it for those who haven't heard about it. So they're having issues because the cost to transport from the mother vessel to the daughter vessel, which actually fills up the tanks, has quadrupled. Because it used to be $38,000, it has moved to around $108,000 to $111,000. And if the government is insisting they charge 145 naira to the per liter, it doesn't make any sense for the marketers. So there has to be a review. I mean, that's why they're having issues. They can't even bring the fuel to our filling stations. Some people are selling 210 because I bought 210 yesterday, 2 days ago. Some people are still selling at 145. So it's really difficult for these marketers to retain the pump prices. But hopefully the NNPC will be meeting with them today because everywhere there's scarcity. And it's a serious issue.
Let me take the story of the presidential campaign of the Labour Party presidential candidates. Peter Obi's plane was grounded. They said it was in Ibadan, and they were supposed to take off from Ibadan. The plane carries the National Working Committee and the NEC members of the campaign, and it was, according to them, grounded by powers that be. So the Deputy Director General and Campaign Manager for Labour Party presidential campaign, Osileko, yes, the man, Mr. Obaze, was the first to raise alarm on Twitter to say that there were powers that be that grounded their craft, and they were citing that that the powers that be are citing regulatory reasons to slow down their campaign moves, but that they will find alternative ways. The conversation, the report, however, from the side of the NCC was that this is not a private plane. There is a schedule. The plane belongs to a scheduled operator, and it is based on that scheduled operator that they grounded that plane, and it can be easily fixed. But you know, it's not everything that we should get. Please put out facts only, because right now, all through this report, there was no statement on what was the reason it was grounded. What reason did the NCC give for the plane being grounded? Because if you are just speculating that it's powers that be, it is political, that's not right.
I think also it's campaign season. People should understand
not hit up the
that these are sensitive times. So from the federal government side and from the party side, everybody must ensure it's only facts, not based on powers that be or sentiments or something. Be very careful this time so that we don't hit up. Okay, let's take moving on to Daily Sun. Redesigned naira, 165 billion naira back in banks as Buhari unveils the new note. 2023 presidency, why I prefer Obi to Tinubu, says Adebanjo. INEC raises fresh security alerts over 2023 polls. UBTH to commence open heart surgery, says CMD. Fuel scarcity, commuters groan as fare hits roof in Lagos and Abuja. APC chairman expresses doubt on INEC's capacity to transmit election results electronically. British envoy decries electoral violence, says world watching Nigeria. Atiku will soon meet G5 governors, says Okowa South governors to reaffirm support. Enugu government flays attack on farmers in Eha and Mufu, calls for immediate deployment of more security personnel. Okay, which story are we taking here?
Commuters groan as fuel scarcity bites harder. Commuters, they say, across Lagos are beginning to feel the heat of the resurgence of fuel queues. I mean, everyone can say it's either you're in traffic because the long queues along the road, and so the lanes are much reduced. And they're talking about the fact that development, both major and independent fuel marketers have also adopted different pricing models depending on their locations. Some are selling for 170 per litre, others 200, 205, 210. The report is just saying how many people are complaining. They're stranded at bus stations and taxi ranks because, everyone is queuing up. Transporters are taking advantage of the situation, and it's affecting transportation fare. Just the usual. So we would like to know what the story is, what's causing this, and when this will end.
It's gone from 300 naira to 500 naira. And in Songo is going from transportation.
It's really bad.
I mean, that's what is going to happen.
Added difficulty.
I think the reality is, we'll talk about it another day. Let's pick up another story in turn.
Yes, so Peter Obi's campaign the plane was grounded in Oyo because they went for a campaign rally in Oyo. They were at the, I want to get the stadium, Lagos Salami Stadium, Ibadan, Oyo State yesterday. And the conversation was around the candidate saying he appreciated Afenifere for standing with him, that they have represented, that they are custodians of the conscience of the nation. And just because the fact that he has a Yoruba, the leader of the Afenifere supporting him, Adebayo. So Adebayo now said that people shouldn't take it personal. It's not an attack against the candidate for APC. That people are saying that he is not supporting his Yoruba brother, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and that is not the case. That they should remember how he supported Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu when he was contesting for the governorship for Lagos State, how he stood by him then, but that for now this is what he feels and is in support of the political arrangement that he should go to the Southeast. That is not a matter of Yoruba or Igbo, it's about Nigeria. And so generally, campaign speech that we expect to receive.
Okay, moving on quickly now to the Nigerian Tribune. Ekiti Assembly Speaker's impeachment reckless, says Afe Olanipekun and Falano. $1 billion looted funds recovered since 2015, says federal government. Senate probes concessioning of 700 megawatts Zungeru power plant. Adebanjo leads Obi-Dati campaign to Southwest, insists on justice, fairness and equity. One killed palace burns as angry residents protest installation of the new Ikiru monarch. INEC to mobilize national institutions responsible for tackling, combating illicit flow of funds. And woman stabs husband to death over sex night. They reconciled after 3 months separation. I don't understand. Who took that story? I can do that story. Nobody.
Yeah, I have it.
Okay, please, let's start with that, because let's have it.
They had been quarreling, so they had separated. After 3 months, people coming and putting them together, they reconciled. When they got home, he now made sexual advances to her, and she was saying, no, she doesn't want. So he got annoyed and took her phone, smashed it on the floor. She retaliated by using a knife, stabbed him. They paraded her with,
Jesus.
Settle. This one is settled now. This is what causes it too. They should have just left them in peace in their separation.
Well, it's not funny. Let's just take another
Yes, INEC. The chairman of INEC is saying that INEC will be working with relevant national institutions that have the responsibility of tracking, and also tracking, funds, movement of funds, especially to combat the movement of illicit funds during these elections that were headed towards, he says it's 93 days away. I guess today we're making 92 days away from elections in 2023. And he was responding to a question about financing, of campaigns. And he says that these bodies, so that's the ICPC and EFCC, they'll be working closely with INEC to make sure that all this vote buying, movement of large sums of money from one place to the other that will be suspicious, of course, will be tracked, and also whoever it is behind will be, found out and prosecuted. He says that the BVAS is here to stay, and also reiterated, as they've always done, that they are going to make sure that they deliver for us a free and fair elections.
So the Attorney General of the Federation, Minister and the Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, was stating that the government has recovered $1 billion since the beginning of this administration. They recovered $1 billion for looted funds, of course. And they were also giving some indications of some successes by the EFCC. So, for example, they said that EFCC has since in 2022 alone has recorded over 3,000 convictions. I'm not sure where I can't recall that many, but that's what the report he was giving. He was also saying that there have been 109 convictions were recorded from inception of major agencies of the government, and he was just giving like a rundown of the various successes of the administration. He was speaking at FEC meeting yesterday. He announced that the council's approval to extend the current anti-corruption strategy document 2022 to 2026 to strengthen anti-graft fight in the fight in the country. He also explained that the same document has been adopted for the period of 2017. So he was just giving a report. If you look at some of these reports, we can see indeed that the federal government has done quite a bit, but this is information that we shall be receiving year on, year out.
Yeah.
If bringing all these great things towards the end of the year is not should have been done earlier, so that Nigerians have it at their fingertips.
As what Mariam would say, sometimes we see the stories in the papers, but we don't take it, or we don't read it, or we read it and we don't believe them.
Yes.
Because I've been reading the military stories, and I'm like, the military is actually reporting regularly about all the good things they've done, just like NDLEA, but we just choose not to believe it.
Somewhere in our subconscious. Okay, we have to run. I think we have, we've run out of time. That's all we can take on Front Page Review. Mike, these your glasses. Looks like it fits me.
It's not like, don't let them fit too much.
Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be. So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities. right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table. So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table. So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man?
Thanks for staying with us. So we are back today with another Vitafoam I Create Club segment. I Create is a club that tours 100 primary schools, and its activities are sponsored by Vitafoam Nigeria PLC. Today in the studio with us is the first runner-up of one of the club's competitions, The Jingle. Sir, introduce yourself.
My name is Denzel Fashla. I am 9 years old. I attend Chrisland School, Opebi, and I'm in year 5. And here with me is my diction teacher, Ms. Akiboboye.
Thank you. Great. So let's listen to the song that you had that won second place in the jingle competition. Let's listen to that song.
At night when I lay on my Vitafoam bed, rest my head on my Vitafoam pillow. I'm sure to wake up on my mind filled with via super creative, big ideas. School days are fun days. I create club fun days. Interesting, entertaining, fascinating, entertaining. Vitafoam cuddles me. At night when I lay on my Vitafoam bed. Vitafoam cuddles me. Rest my head on my Vitafoam pillow. Vitafoam cuddles me.
Wow, I really enjoyed that. But I hear that you teamed up with your teacher, to come up with this, and you also rapped. So whose idea was the rap?
I love rapping. And I wanted my jingle to be entirely different from my opponent's jingle. So it was my idea.
Nice.
So yeah, interestingly, it was Denzel's idea, the rap. But we also had his classmates work with him when he was about to make the choice of the beat. And it went so well. I think early in the morning before they went to the studio that day was when the music teacher was preview to listening to the song, and he was really very amazed because he had no contribution. He just decided to allow them do their thing, because that's one thing we do in Chrisland. We allow children to be independent, and so he was very amazed at what they did. So all through the rap and the creation of the beats was done by Denzel and his friends.
Amazing.
Yep. How did you feel when your rap earned you second place position?
I felt so happy and delighted. Having my presentation presented to the big stage was such a big deal for me.
So how has that changed you? How has this competition changed Denzel?
It has helped to build my creative writing skills, also boost my self-confidence. Now I can talk to a large crowd.
Okay.
Let me go on a quick break. When I come back, we'll continue with Denzel. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view.
Pieces settle down in abject beauty, erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting, as the arts are meant to be.
Okay, Denzel. So if we were to look into the future, what do you think? Do you think you would like to make a career of music, or have music and then another profession, combine that's music and another profession, or just do a whole other profession altogether?
I would like to combine music and another profession, and that profession will be an entrepreneurist.
Wow.
Wow, nice.
Good.
Entrepreneurist, I like that.
Yes. So
Okay.
my question is for the teacher. If I have a child whose interest lies more in engineering or medicine or something, would you say the I Create Club is not for her, or is it just for people interested in the arts?
Okay, so here's the thing about the I Create Club and activities arranged and organized by the Vitafoam. It's multifaceted. For me, I believe that when a child is in a club like I Create, a child there is there to develop their confidence and their social skills. When it came to the competition where Denzel was participating in, he had to come up with his lyrics. And before he did that, I want to believe that he had to develop his creative writing skills. And he did that. And I believe it's helping him build his confidence. And again, he also had to work with his classmates To me, that's teamwork. For any child that wants to excel in life, you should be able to work with people, develop your social skills. And I Create Club at some point had this reading culture that they brought into our school. We had to read a storybook of a talented young girl. And this storybook was about a child that is inquisitive. And this helped our children to ask questions. While that was also going on, we had fun activities that were related to the book. A child that had to do some kind of experiment, and if you ask me, that's science, and we did that in our science class. So the I Create Club is not limited to art students alone. If you're in sciences, you can also be in I Create Club. The idea here is that they help you to actually think out of the box. So it's a club that is right for every.
Fantastic. Let's talk about Chrisland Schools for a moment because of time. I heard that the very first business plan competition was won by one of your Ladipo Oluwole, I believe.
Yes.
And even about you had about 3 finalists from your schools. What exactly do you think Chrisland superpower is? What exactly is that superpower factor that Chrisland schools have?
Okay, I like the word superpower factor. For us in Chrisland, 45 years now, we're 45 this year. We've been at the forefront of the academic sector, the private academic sector. Our vision is actually to nurture children to become all they can be through quality all-round education. And when you mention all-round education, what we have in mind is that we're not focusing only on a child's academic ability. We also look at their social skills, and that's why we imbibe the extracurricular activity, and that's where I Create Club comes in. We also have other clubs like the music club, the dance group. They all come. We have social service providers rather that come in to take these children in these clubs, and this helps the children to build their confidence, and it has a way of building their mental and physical skills as well. So Chrisland is a school that has taken learning out of the classroom.
Great.
Denzel, I have a challenge for you. So, do you know the list of all the pillows that Vitafoam has?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you make a song out of it?
You just give me 1 second.
All right.
So that's the list, right? Of all the Vitafoam pillows.
Yes.
Would you like to know the types of Vitafoam pillows? Would you like to know the types of Vitafoam pillows? Let's go. Have a memory pillow. What's a Dove pillow? What's floor pillow?
Go.
What's palm pillow?
Yeah.
What's microfiber pillow?
Yeah.
What's jumbo pillow?
Whoa.
What's a gazel pillow?
Yes.
What's a cool
Yeah.
pillow?
Yeah.
What's permanent
Yeah.
pillow? Let's go again.
Okay. Let's
Have
go
a
again.
memory pillow.
Yeah.
What's Dove pillow?
Yeah.
What's floor pillow? What's palm pillow? What's a fluffy microfiber pillow? What's a jumbo pillow? What's a gazel pillow? What's cool pillow? What's permanent pillow? The Vitafoam pillow is the very best pillow.
You got a rapper, Denzel.
Teacher girl has become drummer.
I'm telling you.
All the Vitafoam pillows, which would you say is your favorite?
I want the Vitalite pillow, though it's not on the list, but that's my favorite pillow.
Why is that? Would you say? Why do you like Vitalite?
It's very soft and cozy.
Okay, so we're talking at the school's final.
So I was going to say the teacher. So what's your final words to I Create and Vitafoam?
Okay, so I Create, I really want to say a big thank you. It's a platform that has helped our children so far to build their self-confidence, and I'm really happy that we're working with them. And then for Vitafoam, it's a brand I've known all the way when I was young, and they've kept their brand so well. I want to say a big thank you for supporting the academic environment here in the country. So
fantastic. So it was great chatting with another child who has been giving us a fantastic platform by the I Create Club and Vitafoam Nigeria PLC. It's always inspiring watching children discover and grow their talents through activities like these. Great job, Denzel.
Thank you, Ma.
Remember, the Vitafoam memory pillows are still going out. For a chance at winning, visit the I Create Club's Instagram page at I Create Club NG to get more details and information. Let's go on a break. When we come back, move on to our Thursday topic. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw ether material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move weigh in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known, for when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw ether material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move weigh in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known, for when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
Oh wow, my typical day is filled with meetings, consultations, and of course traffic. And that's all part of the hustle and bustle of city life. But the real fun starts when I can just settle down and catch up with all my favorite programs on TVC. Believe me, it's pure entertainment.
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table. So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs,
Thanks for staying with us. So it's Thursday, and today we'd like to talk about family relationships and culture. So there was a message that caught our attention. I think it's important for us to read and give credit to the person who posted it. The person's is Senator Adeshewa, and this is exactly what she said. I think myself and Mariam will be taking the message. It says the Japa culture is promoting dysfunctionality and maladjustedness in the African society and in families. People are missing very important moments of the lives of their parents and vice versa due to culture. This new culture, parents are missing birthdays. Kids that school abroad are missing developmental stages of their siblings. Friends are scattered all over the place. People's parents are dying and they can't even see their family. They've normalized not seeing their kids for many years and vice versa. This is dysfunctional
and it's sad that it's only common in African, Asian and other colored minorities are mostly the victims of this. It's very unfair because the majority of white people are present for every milestone that their children achieve. If they must travel, it's hardly under strict conditions like that of Nigerians or Asians. Our communities are becoming so dysfunctional. People are not seeing their husbands for many years, marriages are breaking, and a lot is happening. I'm really praying for Nigeria to be a great nation, that is, so that all, that we can all return and live.
So this is quite, I'll say this is quite profound because in our Kirakita and, all going up and down, is it what that song? In our hustling and trying to have a better life. And I connect this with a conversation myself and my husband had recently. When, because I was putting pressure on him that, at least, we have to start thinking of how we can have sustainable income because when the children are a certain age, they must start thinking of how they can go to school abroad. And he sat me down and said, Mariam, let us analyze this abroad thing that you're planning. Let us think about it. Must our children go to school abroad? And we're having a conversation, we're analyzing, looking at a few people that we know that, yes, they're taking their children abroad. And then those who actually did their university in Nigeria, and then went abroad and we successful. We're just trying our own small analysis. We don't have any real data, but just looking around that, many successful Nigerians finished their degrees here, People went abroad for their masters, but they were mature enough to make right decisions. You know, when the child leaves so early, a lot of things, I mean, there are different factors. Well, we need to start having a conversation. Do we want to keep our family? Do we want to divide ourselves? Who stays? Who goes? How do we share? How do we, you know, these are real conversations that families are having today. Because the reality of Japa is in our face. Everybody wants to leave, but we're not counting the costs. We're not counting the losses. We're not counting the emotional torture and torment it's causing us as a family. So, what are your thoughts on this? I'd really like to hear from Nigerians this morning, especially those of you that made that decision to Japa, and even those of you that are thinking about it. I mean, it's a conversation we should have. We can call us on 081-270-53687, 091-390-7694. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. Who would like to go first?
I think that nobody can tell anyone how to, what's important to them, and nobody should tell anybody how to raise their children or how to raise their family. And everybody is just trying to respond to the inefficiencies within our society. You know, if our universities are good, nobody will send their children abroad to go and study. You know, if our healthcare is good, people will not be under pressure to Japa. If there's value for money, I want to buy a shoe. Well, I'm seeing $50 shoe, $50, and I'm converting to naira, and it is something 1,000 naira for a $50 shoe. If we had a thriving country, we wouldn't be thinking of going anywhere. So everybody is reacting, not really thinking through their processes. Many people are relocating, sending children abroad without understanding the entire implication of it. And there are huge costs to these things. Many children relocate to the universities or secondary schools abroad without being properly grounded and without proper supervision, resorting to different things. Some go into drugs, some commit suicide. It's so sad when you read the stories papers of someone whose child goes to maybe Cyprus, and they said if he jumped down from a building or something happened, and there's nobody to even see or investigate if that was truly what happened. There is a lot of cost that Nigerians are bearing, not conveniently for them, but because they look at the reality here and it looks bleak. So they see that place as a better opportunity for my child. I will make the sacrifice of not seeing my child every day so that my child will live a better life. It is a sacrifice. And the write-up is making it look like, well,
let me pause you for a second, because if we see it from one perspective, that I'm sacrificing for my child to be better. But as I said, because unfortunately we are Nigerians, we don't have data. Or if this situation was abroad, some people would have come up with some figures and data to tell you how many people traveled abroad, what have their lives. We don't have the numbers. We're just hoping that they're all successful, that they traveled abroad. But let us speculate on both sides. There are some people that made the sacrifice and they're extremely successful, and it's a fantastic decision. Others are going there and they're biting their fingers that maybe I would have stressed myself. Because I always refer to Femi Falana. Femi Falana lived in Nigeria. He was raising children in Nigeria at the point where people were also jackpotting. All his children did their universities, and that's something this man can brag about anywhere. All his children did their first degree here. Now, any noise he makes, he's making it because there's nothing nobody can tell him otherwise. Let me come to you, Mara, your thoughts.
See, this thing, I've thought about it many times. And you said something, says, yes, we want to Japa, we want to send our children abroad because we have determined that that's what success means. We don't look at the cost for everything we do. There's there are consequences. There's a cost. You'll be in the same house with someone who, one child is American, the other child is British. Canadian. They're Canadian, different children in one house. That communication sometimes is almost strained, or a parent or parents who have to travel to different countries to go and see their children. And I'm thinking, is it worth it? Is it really the only way to be successful? Is it the only way that our children can be successful if we send them abroad? Are we putting our energy, are we fighting the wrong things? Should we instead put our energy in insisting that our government is doing it differently? Yes, people are desperate and they are sending their children abroad to school. But is that enough to just send our children to school? That, the cost, that the repercussions of this many years down the line, shouldn't we all put our energies into insisting that our children are able to school, in Nigeria, not only for the betterment of our country, but even for our families? You have, this person mentioned, you have someone who cannot come home for a parent's funeral because it costs too much to be able to do that. A parent that has sacrificed the whole world for you, you cannot even be there to pay them the last respect. Is it worth it? Because we're not talking of children who their parents even have all the money, they can take them, they come back every 2 weeks, come back every holiday. We're talking of people that when they are leaving, this could be bye. We may never see you again. We will see your grandchildren on the, on the phone. We may never get to meet them. And I'm wondering, really, shouldn't we start? Shouldn't we also start telling the government when we're talking about our schools not working or things not working? We're not only just talking about them being in school. It means that it's affecting families, and whether we like it or not, these little cells of families affect societies. All this goodness that we're taking away, our children, our bright, brilliant children, we're putting our monies together for them to go to another country and give their best to the other country. We're stealing these countries are almost stealing so much from us. We're even helping them. It's another form of slavery, the way I see it. They used to come and take us away. Now they're taking our bright minds away because our government is not doing the best. And I feel that as a country, we should start putting our energies towards insisting that things work here so that the best will stay here and our families will work better.
Then we're going to break. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw ether material slabbed, stroked, and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
So, Have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table. So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table.
Thanks for staying with us. So joining the conversation is an award-winning actress, voiceover artist, presenter, model, and filmmaker. She has been active for over 8 years. Welcome with us the beautiful, gorgeous Omowumi Dada in the building. And I saw her like, she's fine. Good to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Before you came in, we were talking about this Japa culture, you know, the consequences, because yes, many people feel it's the right decision, especially because of their children. But we're counting the costs of this, and I was going to come to YK. Before I come to YK, let me go back to the premise that she talked about, the fact that those people who stay back should help in pushing the government to do the right thing. But I don't think that's even a bit too far. You know, somebody doesn't want to get involved in government, somebody just a regular Nigerian. And I would even think that if a regular Nigerian just shows a child love, excessive love, and you raise the child well, even in this chaotic situation, where you raise a child, you give them your 100%, they get your 100%, the 100% that you not give them when you travel abroad, they get that 100%, and you still raise them in this society. Is it possible you still get a wholesome child that go to a Nigerian university and still can even travel abroad in their own time? Is that a possibility? Why is that not an option? Because you're talking about how we're defining success. Is it when you travel abroad, or is it when you raise a wholesome child even within this chaos where she goes to school, and even if they are madness going to universities, but you're still having a child who is responsible enough to be entrepreneurial? Do you think that's a better option? Let me come to YK. Your thoughts on this Japa, the culture and the costs especially.
I need to say there are two sides to the coin. There's going to school abroad, and then there's Japa. They are two different things.
Absolutely.
So my daughter went to school abroad. And then decided to Japa after.
Or just stay there.
Or just stay there, whichever way you put it. But I remember because I had wanted to send her father wanted her to attend the university here, and she was like, no, she doesn't, and she was really adamant about it. Because I hadn't thought of her going to school abroad, so I now said, okay, if that's what she wants, I'm going to do it. I'm going to make sure she does it. So she gets, and there's this lady, she's been working with us for about 26 years, and she I'm sure you all know, you've been to her house, you all know MM came to me and said, Auntie, no literary school here. I said, why? She said, see university, she now, I can't remember who she mentioned.
Yes.
It's still there for university after how many years? So that was another point. So if people decide to send their kids to university because the university system, which was excellent before, does not work here, it's understandable.
Yeah.
It is understandable. Now, if the government does not make you staying here conducive, so our young minds are leaving, then we need to point the finger in the right direction. Not me, because every human being is, I think, thinking of number one, and number one is me. So if I think I'm going to have a better life out there, which to me I don't think so, because I never decided to leave Nigeria, it's their right. But we need to make our government needs to make governments, I didn't say government, I'm not pointing at any particular government, I'm just saying successive governments, they should make this country work for people who want to stay. I went 3 weeks, 3 weeks in England for me. It's no holiday because I'm staying with my grandchildren. And I'm looking after them. When I come home, I can relax. But when I come home, back, my door. This. There are problems. The problems are they are surmountable. I'm telling you, you just want to just scream.
Michael, let me pause you for a second, because I don't want us to fall into the trap of talking about the problems, because we know the problems. Everybody here knows our schools are bad. Government hasn't done anything. We know that one. We're talking about the cost of the decision. Looking at it, okay, government is bad. The school is bad. Now, if I go abroad, would I see my child? Would I miss my family? Is it enough? Is it enough to pay? Am I
really?
To hear
YK on that?
No, I'll come to you, and I'll come to YK. I want YK to think about the answer. Then I'll come back to.
I know the answer because my child is abroad.
Yes.
So I have to. It's expensive for me because if I want to see my child, it's expensive for me to go and see her. It's. I want to hold and hug my grandchildren. I can't do it.
Yes.
As often as I would like. They won't come home for Christmas. I will not see them. Oh. Yeah, I won't see them. So it's expensive in that it's expensive for me not to be able to see them. Spiritually expensive. But for them, for my daughter, if it's the way she has chosen her life, please.
Okay, let me come to you, Omomi, on this matter. What are your thoughts on this issue of Japa? So we've all agreed that it's everybody's right to Japa. Nobody's objecting to that. But our conversation really is the cost of it. If I evaluate the cost, is it more beneficial for me to Japa, or is it rather, do I redefine what success is, where I raise my kids in love, raise them right, and still have a wholesome child in Nigeria, regardless of all the situations, and then still be successful? What are
okay, so the first thing I wanted to say is that everyone has the right to choice.
Of course.
Whether we like it or not, we will all make whatever choices we feel is best for us. But the truth is, whatever choice we make has a positive side and the adverse effect. So when you make that decision, you have to be ready. You have to have thought it through, because it would have its good sides, it would have its bad side. And the truth is, people definitely can stay in Nigeria and believe in Nigeria and hit all the rocks that will come with being in Nigeria and still be successful. Some people will japa, quote and unquote, and still not live that fulfilled life. We've had quite a number of people who have jackpad, and then they realized that the opportunity for their careers or for their lives or for their vision is actually here in Nigeria. Now, for the children, regardless of whatever society that you're in, love is the most important. I always say that to change the world, to change the society, starts from the family. It starts with individuals. So it's that when you japa and your children are out there, please make it a point of duty that they do not forget who they originally are. I have aunties who their children literally are born in America and whatnot. But if you tell the children while they're small, before they start attending the schools there, if you tell them, come, they don't know what come is. If you tell them wa, they come to you. If you tell them wagba, malo, they understand Yoruba, for example. But they don't understand English until they get to school. So it's a point. They are very, very deliberate, and they are very, very intentional.
Abroad?
Yes, abroad. Yes, but nothing good comes easy.
My friend only speaks Yoruba to her daughter, but her daughter understands, but she can't speak. But she understands everything you say in Yoruba.
Even abroad.
She's lived there. She's never lived here.
I didn't realize how emotional this topic will be for me. Because when we're talking about it, I was just saying it casually, but as you're talking and everybody's talking, I'm just thinking back to my own background. And even yesterday when I was speaking in Ibadan, I was raising this issue. I didn't grow up with my brothers. And it was a very difficult thing for me as a child. Because, you know, it was easy to say, oh, all my brothers traveled before I was born. I mean, when I was like about 3-4 years old, they all left the country. So I always heard about my brothers. Or everybody would come and tell you, oh, your brother in New York, he did that, was in the UK, all these fantastic stories. I never met them. Wow. I met them for the first time when I was 15, when I traveled. Wow. And during that period in Nigeria, knowing I had brothers abroad, it was a painful thing. See, I never appreciated or even recognized the pain until even recently, because I felt abandoned. I felt like when I was being bullied, when I was being harassed, I felt that nobody was there to fight for me. But I have brothers. You know, there will be times where you feel like someone's going to defend you. And when I had people who were talking to me anyhow, I just felt my brothers were around. It was just me. So
I understand that. But it's also possible that your brothers will not be the fighting ones. My brothers, I have 3 brothers, but they are the peacemakers. So you might think what I growing up, what I wished I had was a sister, you know, and I felt like I really needed a sister. There were some mistakes that I had made in my life that it was possible that if I had a sister, I would not have made that mistake. So it's 2 ways. Your brothers might not have been the fighting ones, but they might also be there for you to have conversations with.
I want us to focus on. Not why it happened in the first place, but the crises.
There are costs and, you know,
to everything.
Yes, and
cost and effect.
That's true, but do we acknowledge them? That's the thing. We don't even acknowledge them, and we don't know how it affects how we behave, our relationships,
how we become the adults we become.
Yes, going forward. And there's something also that struck me was my brother-in-law who's always lived in America many years, and then he will come home, and he will say to me, "See, there are problems everywhere. In Nigeria, the Nigerian problems, America, the American problems." But he says that there's this sense of identity where you know that you're home. You know, for us, we just concentrate on, oh, now I'm abroad, I'm earning dollars, blah, blah, blah. But then you don't feel like you belong. And that sense of identity can be so strong. When you're home, anywhere he finds himself in Lagos, he just knows that anyhow, we'll get home. But I'm in my house, these are my people. But Miriam, you don't have that feeling. And so, what sort of adult do you become when you don't feel like you belong somewhere? And what sort of children do you even raise? So when you're dealing with someone that has many sensitivities or lack of confidence and you're wondering why, do you understand? These are the things. And whether we like it or not, we're talking about a family person. We look out for ourselves. But we all make up a society. We all make up a country. And then here we are with all our different traumatic experiences that we have refused to acknowledge and work upon. And then we have a country that we're raising children in. And, you know,
Nigerians abroad. I find Nigerians abroad identify 100% with Nigeria. Most of them, they are working to come back. Even if it is for a holiday, you see Nigerians, they all identify. They identify with Nigeria more than the Nigerians who are here, because Nigerians who are here are just saying, man, let me just get that visa and Japa. You know, so they identify. So I think what has to be done is to educate the ones here that it's not always brighter on the other side. And give even, and when the ones that are there come back, we are always very cold to them. We are always, you have dollar now, so we now start to want to help them spend their dollars. You know, so I think it's just, we have an identity crisis. And here I will agree with Morayo when she says Nollywood don't give the true picture. They give you that picture of when you go abroad, when you come back, you will buy car, you will do this, you will do that. They give you that picture.
The Nollywood in the house is why are you blaming us? What did we do?
That's the only place where I will agree with Morayo.
So let's go back to the cost. You see, there were different generations relocating. You cannot compare the relocating of 10 years ago with the relocating of today. The average child that is relocating, a lot of kids in my school have relocated. My kids say it all the time. Oh, my friend is now in Canada. My friend, he said, I'm going to... Yeah, so they're going to the UK. And these children are not even closely identified with Nigeria. These children are already American in their head because they've consumed from birth till 10, till 9, till 5. All they have consumed is America, YouTube, cartoons. So they are already there. They have arrived there. But when they get then the reality shocks them that they are not one of them.
Yes.
So what people are not realizing in the current Japa system is that you are taking your children who feel American or feel British and they're landing in Britain and realizing that they are not Britain. Because they notice, they look at you like you're not here. You are not here.
Even the accent you thought was American is not.
You feel you sound funny, you are not. And they will say, come again, come again, come again. So, and nobody is talking to those children right now. A lot of our people have relocated and they're not asking their child, how are they feeling in class? Because they suddenly find themselves the brightest in Nigeria. They're still shining bright, but everybody's looking at you like, you know too much. And there is a clash, and sometimes they dumb down in order to blend. So the conversation now is beyond your personal desire to become financially satisfied and to blend in with the world. It is to ask yourself, am I going to raise children that would be happy where they are? I know people that have gone there with their children and come back with their children because they saw what their children were turning into. Suddenly the girl wants to dye her hair purple. The girl wants to pierce her nose.
They bring the children here and they go back. They leave the children and go back.
It's about looking at all the options, truly analyzing it. Don't gloss over the stories. Don't sugarcoat it. Look at the reality of what will happen if I go. How will my children be? And can I afford to go and visit them? Then there's another category of those that send their children for university abroad, who will never see their children again throughout that 4 years. How will your child turn out? No supervision. You leave your child in a place where he doesn't understand the culture, he doesn't speak their language, and is being given peanuts to take care of himself on a daily basis. And they're expecting that he will just turn out.
There are two things I'd like you to touch on, because somebody was saying that a middle-class family here, somebody who's working hard and trying to put everything together, decides to Japa. Now, because you go to a new country trying to start over, you end up staying in a community that might not be so rich, because you're starting out. When you stay in a community that is not like a lower middle-class society abroad, your child ends up going to their school. Yeah. A child that went to private school here that always had a certain level, you now bring the child down into a community that is entering all these people, the Agberos of the Americas. That's the kind of school he's entering. He can't go to a private school because you're just starting out. And then you force that child into that kind of system, and you are now having to hustle. You're working 2 jobs to meet up, and the child doesn't see you again. Are we counting the costs? We are not. That's where I'm going to. Secondly, there was something you said I wanted to touch on.
But what of the children here that the parents don't get to see? Also. Because we are not thinking, we are thinking, Japa. No, there are children here who their parents are working only 1 job. Yes. By the time they leave at 4 in the morning to get to
grandma might be home.
Thank you.
Grandma is home.
Or you can move to Jos.
So there's sometimes there are options. Just there are options everywhere. There are some where Nima has neighbors. Yeah, what's an Yala Olu? So I will pile up with my neighbor because I trust that my neighbor will take care of my child. This is Nigeria. You can't do that abroad now. Go and give your neighbor to who?
A neighbor that is also on the clock.
Yeah, the clock. So the point is that counting the cost. I'll come to you. I want you to think about all the resources and the fact that many of this, and that fact, which I think is important for us to talk about. Nigerians are not jackpying. Well, my stance to be corrected. Not because that the country is so bad and unbearable. These international, these countries are invited. They've opened their doors. There was a time that this green card lottery thing was in. A lot of us are going there. Many Nigerians went through green card lottery. When when a country opens their doors, Canada opened their doors for an objective. They need the workforce. Countries so we are taking an opportunity. It's like anybody. You hear that they're hiring somewhere. I will take an opportunity.
But Morayo, listen. You have to imbibe the culture of this place is good. You have to. I will blame government, because if you don't tell your people how good your own place is, they will. If I come with my green card, I will want to go because I've heard that place is I remember the first time I went to London. I was like, where is the gold on the street?
The gold, I know.
I was shocked. Yeah. I was looking at the houses. I was, this place is not how I thought it would be.
You're not spoken for a man. I'll let you talk in a minute. Let me take this call and I'll come to your mommy. I think I have somebody from the UK. Olalekon, you're live. Good morning, Olalekan. Are you there? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm there. You hear me? You hear me?
We're waiting for you.
Hello?
We're waiting for you. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I can hear you.
First thing I would say, I appreciate what you just said about people in Japa. The reality is, let's be honest with ourselves, there's no real like home.
Oh, I think we lost that call. Let me want to add a few things to this conversation.
There was something I wanted to say. I think that this conversation is not had well enough. Like, people don't really talk about it, especially people that are over there. You know, there's this perception that the grass is greener at the other side until you get there and you experience it. Fine, it might be a more structured society, but it also has its adverse effects, which a lot of people do not talk about. Now, people assume that, oh, once I go to the UK, my children automatically have a better life. But it might not be the case for you. Fine, they might be in better schools, well, schools with better structure than here, but at the long run, how does it affect you? On the flip side, the parents just want financial stability. Truth is, if Nigeria was a fantastic country, Nigeria is a beautiful country, but we cannot lie and shy away from the truth that, yes, things are not working as amazingly as we would want it to be. But if things were perfect, if we had the kind of economy that, you know, the UK has, and the UK opens its doors, I'm like, why would I want to go there to go and stay? People have gone there and their lives have gotten better, and people have also gone there and it's gotten seemingly better, but maybe not as good as it is.
What I would like to bring out from this conversation is that let us not always think I'm going because it's so bad.
So that's, let me go there. So that's the thing, we need to talk about pressure.
Yes.
We need to talk about pressure and what we have decided means success. So I'm even talking to those who can afford to go and be there, but they can also afford to stay. And in the tough society and environment that we have,
wiggle their way.
They can find their way. They have the resources, they have the money, they have the connections, family and relationship connections, that they can find their way and live quite comfortably in Nigeria. But is it enough when you look down the streets and that person not only has the house and the car, but the children are abroad? So I would send my child abroad. Without thinking, is my child going to be able to cope in a place like that?
Without needing
this other person was able to take their child abroad because maybe they have family there, they have a whole support system. The child still goes to school but still goes to family, but your own child will now be in the school community. No one to speak to. But we have to prove the point that my child too is schooling abroad. So there are some things we need to tell ourselves. Sometimes about pressure, we need to show that we too, we have arrived.
So I have children.
I have to show my child, put him on the pedestal and say, look at what I have done, look at what I've achieved, without looking at that, how it affects that child.
For the right reasons, like maybe they are ground zero in Nigeria. They hear that Canada is opening, they do the exam, they pass, and you know what? Yeah, let's go. Because they are ground zero. But some who are actually okay, they have a decent job, they can still wiggle through this system. But because pressure, so I get that another point. Let me take this call from Andy in the UK. Good morning, Andy. Are you there?
Hi there.
You're live.
Good morning. Yes, why I want to appreciate this discussion, Japa syndrome. I appreciate you for bringing it up again. But what I wanted to say this one is, let us all agree that Japa is a good thing. It happens in different perspectives. Our forefathers developed, everybody have Japa in education to better their life. That's why we had them Namdi Azikiwe, Awolowo, and all these voluntary income. They went abroad for Western value one way or the other. So after them, we had the Japa economic problems. People left during Abacha Nigeria for better life. Now, today is more of security and better life. So it's Japa plus we are in now. But it's a good thing. The positive thing I want to draw out from it is, one, it saves the country a lot of money in bringing experts back to Nigeria. Now, it has more into our economic issue because it is our own Nigerians that have become an expert abroad that are coming to come and add value to our society, one way or the other, to form a better structure and some of Nigeria.
Okay, so that's a good part. So, but we've not done a good job in Nigeria to receive our experts, our Nigerian experts, and that's an economy.
This is the problem. When I keep on saying that Nigeria is the problem.
Like we talk about
experts are really even coming back.
The issue that Nigeria is the problem is a non-issue. We know. We talk about it every day. We know. We're talking about the cost. So he is saying that there are Nigerian experts abroad
that can bring their
solutions. We can come back, but you see, we have to develop a structure to receive them. If not, they will come back.
So I feel like we're not discussing Nigeria not working.
Yes.
We're not discussing everybody. If you're not here with me when the queue. My husband spent 2 hours trying to buy fuel yesterday. We know that. We know what the problems are. We're talking about the fact that let's not push on honey all over the solution that we think is over there, because we must realize the fact that there is good and bad in every country, in every economy, in every system. And we must ask ourselves, why are we really doing what we're doing? Because if I understand why I'm doing what I'm doing, I can realize that maybe I don't really need to do it. Japa culture or Japa costs is huge in different strata, and we're dealing with it one after the other. I'm not saying that what you've done is wrong, but saying observe if you are missing something. Somebody is tackling me on social media saying that I'm saying children are not. I said, because we don't talk to children. I travel. I'm the auntie that came from Nigeria. I'm the one that gets to talk to your children more than you probably talk to your children to know how your children are really coping in their schools. So when you listen to me, don't say you're a bad parent. Just go and meet your child and actually ask your child how your child is really coping, because we don't know. We don't know. And we should ask and be sure of the mental stability of our children. Many children now are actually clinically depressed, but they're not diagnosed. And many of these schools are brought to put labels on them.
Clinically depressed.
We put labels on them here as well.
Do we not have clinically depressed?
Auntie Annie is doing a very, very stressful but loving sacrifice. And I see it and I admire it, and I feel like, because you want to see your grandchildren, your children call you on FaceTime, and you're like, they love their grandma. And we're not talking about that part. I have a relationship with someone who is in the diaspora, and they can't have the person cannot go, and the grandparents want to see the children, but it can never happen. So we're talking about looking at everything and asking yourself why you're doing what you're doing.
We'll have a part two, because we have to come to our own interview very soon. But you see, there are various facts. There are some parts of where husband goes, woman stays,
and the marriage breaks up.
Yeah,
so those are the ones those are the costs.
So those are some of the costs where husband goes, wife goes, and husband stays. And there's some, or even as some on grandparents, there are other factors. So we are thinking of what. So I think
you see yourself twice in a year
on this conversation. Just like you said, let us count the cost properly
before taking the action.
Because there are people who live in Nigeria. So there's a lady I've told you before, one of my children's teachers. She wants to Japa, and I will support her Japa plan in any way, because she's a fantastic, phenomenal teacher. She's having issues with getting her set up her stuff. She's tried. She has almost hit ground zero. She's doing everything to travel. If she has that opportunity, I will support her, because she has to go. But there are some of us that have some kind of structure, have something. That's who we're saying. Count the costs. Don't say because all my friends are having children abroad. Means if you can find a wiggle your way in the system, wiggle your way, because your children need more of your love, your support, a community raising them in a structured home, and that will be more profitable to them than you carry them to a system where they're
you are not leaving your child to house girl and house boy. Listen, because when we keep saying the cost will come here. Yes. Because how many of us will go, we will say we are working, we will go from morning till night, by the time we get home, our children are in bed, you will say, the grandmother. It's not the grandmother they want you, the mother. They want you, the father.
That's true.
How many of us are there for our children?
Yes.
When they are going, because we will say, abroad, when you enter traffic, you come home at 12 midnight.
Working is right, but we're also talking to the person that already has that really good structure, that is thinking the only way to show that she has succeeded is taking that child out of that structure and put there to show that success. So we are talking to also those people that you are okay. You know, we're trying to say you're okay where you are doing fantastic, fantastically well. Is what we're saying.
We have to wrap up. At the end of the day, be true to yourself. That's the most important.
My account officer in one of the banks, young, he was even a guy like manager. He has that card.
And
I was even surprised that you look as if you are successful.
So why can we just have a part two? Because that kind of person is jackpot because he believes that my children need a better future. That's what we know exactly. Because how would you ensure that your child will have a better future? Is it just the education or the emotional structure and foundation they need? We'll talk about. We have to come to you.
Yes.
Because if I let you continue like this, we'll hear from you.
No, I even wanted to say that sometimes we do not know what people are struggling with individually, that they do not talk about.
Exactly.
So we see them out there and we think they have the perfect life, but they really not.
Okay, so let's talk to you. How are you? We've seen all the movies, all the big performances. Tell us how has it been? Let me just give, because you've done recently election. We saw you there and it was fantastic.
Yes.
How was that? How was it on the set?
Oh, thank you. Election was beautiful from the moment I got the script. So the very first time I got in touch with that piece, that's the play written by Wole Soyinka, I think I was in secondary school. And I read it. And then I went ahead to study creative art at the University of Lagos. So I read it many times, I critiqued it many times. I'd also performed it many times on stage. On stage. So when Emmy Moabudu called me that she wanted to do the cinematic adaptation of it, I was like, wow, this is beautiful, because I have never seen any cinematic adaptation of any Wole Soyinka's plays. And this one, particularly because this was really special to us and a lot of us who were part of the cast and crew, because it's not just a fictional work. This is something that actually happened in real life. Like sometime in 1940, the Alaafin of Oyo died, and then this whole story happened to the election. Wow. So now it was telling this story that is part of like our culture, also showcasing the culture clash of what happened in the colonial era, and also showing the evolution for me. For me, it shows the evolution of womanhood and the strength of the girl child, then and now. Then the woman in the society had literally had no say. Whatever it is the men want is what will happen. Yes. The girl child had no say. But now we have a generation where, you know, as a child, even as a baby, what you want is important, regardless of your gender. So it shows that we have moved as a country, we have moved as a people, but we also need to not forget our culture, our tradition, and our identity. But it's beautiful.
A few weeks ago, a few days ago, we were discussing children, womanhood, and I was like, we've come a long way. We should be proud of ourselves. I love your roles. I love what you've done. What God has helped you to achieve in this industry.
Thank you.
As in, even when you're not saying much, but you embody that character so well. And I want to just dig deep into it a bit. So before we came on air, you were saying, I was like, you're black. It's good to see Ebony Beauty on our screen. How was it starting, and what was the challenge? What was the prevalence at that time?
I'm not even going to lie. It was hard. It was a struggle. But one thing that kept me going was the fact that I knew for a fact that I was going to be successful. I was very certain of my talent and of the person that I was. And I'm so grateful that God gave me a family that also supported me. Right from when I was very young, I used to tell my brothers stories. I used to dance. I was in primary school. I was in Igbo cultural troupe, and I would dance for my brothers. And in secondary school, I was in Yoruba cultural troupe. I thought I wanted to study law, and I think that I have it in me. But I think that I am more passionate about the art and my craft right now. I studied creative arts. So right from when I was in Unilag, from year 2, because we're quite lucky then that when you do your practicals in school, our lecturers used to invite external producers and everything. So my very first play, which was Moremi Ajashuru in 2006, I think, my lecturer then, Tuji Chotimiri, invited like some external producers. And when I was in year 2, I was already doing plays at Osun Center. But I'm one person that really liked to challenge myself. Like I remember when I was in year 2 then, I was doing schoolwork. I was doing a musical which I was playing a 14-year-old St. Bernadette. that had like a tiny voice, a 14-year-old girl, and she had to be singing in soprano, like, all that I have said to you. And then in school, I was playing a role as a king. In fact, we had like
voice back and
yes. And in fact, we had like 6 strong guys in my class. But the lecturer, sorry, not the lecturer, the director said he didn't want any of these people, that he wanted to challenge like other guys to come up and all that. And I said I could do it. And he said, no, Mommy, we're not talking about a regent here. We're talking about a king, male king. I said, yes, I will do it.
Wow.
And it was, so outside of school, after classes, I'll rush outside for rehearsals. I'm the 14-year-old girl singing with soprano. And then back to school, I'm the king talking in the male voice and all that. So it really stretched me. I remember when we were doing our theoretical exam and we had the performance outside of school, I literally took bike from Unilag to Osun Center. That was the first time in my life because I had to make my show. But guess what? That year was one of the best. In fact, I was 5.0.
You finished it.
Yes.
Oh, fantastic.
And you know, people, someone is listening to you now. For me, what struck me was I believed in myself. I knew exactly that. I knew I was going to make it. I was certain. And sometimes I feel that a lot of people just stop there. I believe in myself, and then they don't do the work. And you have so many people now wanting to be everything. I want to be a star today. I believe I'm going to be a star. And so carry themselves as stars, but there's no building blocks of work. What would you advise a young person watching you today about realistic expectations of what it takes to get to where you are?
First thing first, you have to be true to yourself. Why? And ask a lot of whys. Why do you want to do this? Why do you want to be a star? Why do you want to be an actor? Do you want to be an actor because you want to be a star and a celebrity just so people can know you? Do you want to be an actor because you think it's very lucrative? You see them on social media and they always look, they always slay. You think they have money. They probably influence for car companies and you think that, oh, they have like 1 billion cars. Why do you want to be an actor? Is it you have to ask yourself why. For me, it was that I wanted to tell stories. For me, it was that I wanted to change the narration about so many things. For me, it was that I knew that I had this talent inside of me and I wanted to bless people with my talent. In fact, I say that for me, acting is a ministry.
I love it.
So I'm not really, you can see me on the streets of Lagos tomorrow and people will tell you, I can take bike. I will park my car when there is traffic and I will take bike to set because I cannot be late. And that is me. My work comes first. My family, my work, you know, and other things.
Let me come
also, is this an engagement ring?
Oh my God, I didn't see it.
I saw it since. But that's like why you don't announce it officially?
That's question.
Let us hear.
Is that an engagement ring?
You're just laughing. Look at her blushing.
Yes, no.
It's so pretty.
It's so cute.
Oh my God. It's so
tell us the engagement story.
No.
Don't bust the bubble. It's got to be an engagement ring.
It is, of course. It's the story I'm waiting for.
I don't know what to say.
I think you're glowing from inside.
We have just 10 seconds left to say, you know.
You're not going to use laugh to
laugh the 10 seconds.
No. You're not using laugh to run away from this
Please
story.
answer her question.
I don't like to talk about my personality.
Okay. So what we can induce?
Yes.
Is that there's a big rock.
Is an induction. This
It's a deduction.
that there's a rock on her finger. We don't know if it is for a marriage or just for the.
She did not know that she would notice it. She has found a way to.
No problem. It's all good.
Quick recovery.
We have to from her. We already know. We know.
You know what?
Okay, well, I have a few seconds left. What are you working on? What should you have election? But is anything else coming up soon?
Oh yes, so many other things are coming up soon. Also collaborating with people, producing and making movies as well. Yes.
You know, I think I really like
I like her.
And even I like you because one of the reasons why your view is so real and true is because we've stayed true to what we are. We're not there for the glam. We're there because we want to educate and educate people. So, and like when I see people who is doing the job for the real reason, I'm really inspired and well done. And I hope somebody was really learned from you today.
Thank you.
Fantastic work.
And I would like to say something. I started watching Your View when I was much younger, literally when you guys started, and I think I was in school then. And I would say that, please, if you see these ladies out there, give them their flowers, because they have done a lot in making the society better with their craft.
Thank you.
Also, for that young girl that is watching me right now, you can be whatever it is you want to be, as long as you know that whatever it is you want to do is for the right reasons.
Then we have to go.
Then please keep working on becoming a better version of yourself every day.
We have to end this show.
Don't think that you have arrived.
Am I allowed to ring them?
Yes. You can end this show.
Have a good day. We'll see you tomorrow. We have to bring you back.
No.
Oh, you're back.